Splendor just launched, claims it's the fastest AI blockchain on earth, and it's already talking like it's going to replace Google, Visa, Stripe, and your ad revenue all in one shot.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
They're calling it the backbone of the AI economy, and it just listed on LBank with an 800,000-ish circulating market cap and somehow a nearly $10 billion fully diluted valuation.
Come on, man.
Yes, you heard that right. So yeah, welcome back to the Altcoin Hunt. Today we're asking one very simple question. Is Splendor the future of on-chain AI payments, or are you about to volunteer as exit liquidity for the 26 billion locked tokens? Let's go. We're going to dive right into it. We're going to start off with the narrative and vision for Splendor here and basically ask, what problem are they trying to solve? Their story is this. Today's internet runs on ads, surveillance, and platforms that rent you your own attention. They want to nuke that. They're building a blockchain where every AI action, a search query, an AI agent doing a task, hitting someone's API, gets paid for it instantly, directly, with no middleman, using on-chain micropayments. Basically, your AI did work. You get paid per click, no ads, no waiting. They say any website, any app, any AI agent can drop in one line of code and instantly start charging fractions of a cent per request. They call that the X402 protocol. It's a built-in micropayments protocol with zero gas fees to users, instant settlement, and millions of transactions per second. This plugs into their other pieces, and two of them are currently live, which is the AI native search called Splendor Search and a search API that they say is basically a private Google with reasoning and no ads. There's an AI studio that supposedly has hundreds of AI models you can run, combine, and deploy. There's a wallet-based private AI setup pitched as own your AI, so you're not renting OpenAI's brain, you're self-hosting intelligence, although I don't think that's actually out yet.
Nice job, team.
And in Q4 2025, they're teasing an AI compute-backed stablecoin, plus support for all major coins and tokens natively on their chain, so liquidity routes through Splendor itself. If they pull that off, which is a big if, Splendor stops being just another layer one and becomes the payment rails for AI agents talking to each other and paying each other without ads. That's actually a really interesting narrative. I'm not going to lie at all. The question is whether or not they're going to be able to pull all of this off. The story is clean, right? Pay per action internet instead of ad farms. Cool. I'm on board with that. The cons here for me are that they're basically promising to rebuild the entire internet business model from scratch. In V1, like chill out a little bit. That's a huge scope. Every chain says we're the future. Splendor kind of said we're the future, and also quantum computers while we're at it. They do say that they're quantum resistant. Regardless, for the narrative and vision itself, without going into the technicals just yet, 16 out of 20. Let's talk about tokenomics and supply, because this is where it gets hairy. And this is where people either ape in or nope out. And for me, this is definitely a nope out because of the certain factors that I'll talk about right now. You can see the max supply is 26 billion. It's permanently fixed. No more minting anything later. And they're not doing burns either. Now, here's the really insane part. Circulating supply right now is 2.2 million tokens. That is less than 1/100th of a percent of the total. That tiny drip is what you're allowed to trade. The rest locked up under ecosystem, liquidity, strategic integration, translation, not you. At current prices, that tiny float gives you around an $800,000-ish circulating market cap. But if you value all 26 billion tokens at the same price, the fully diluted valuation explodes to like 9-10 billion. That huge mismatch, that's a red flag for me. When FDV is god tier and circulating is microscopic, it usually means early insiders hold bags the size of small nations. And if this thing catches hype, you become the exit door. They also say that the maximum public offering is 130 million SPLD released gradually. 130 million is only 0.5% of the supply. So even public is barely public. The pros here is that there's a fixed cap, right? There's no infinite emissions machine. The cons are that you're buying into a float that is so thin, it should be illegal. The rest of the supply is sitting off market like a nuke. So for tokenomics and supply, I gave them one of the lowest scores I've ever given, which is a 4 out of 20. Now let's go on to the tech and execution, because is any of this real? On paper, this chain is kind of nuts. They claim 2.35 million transactions per second with under 100 millisecond latency. Using GPUs plus an AI decision layer that basically rebalances load, whatever. It's all technical jargon. They say that that same architecture scales to 100 million TPS per node on high-end NVIDIA H100 data center cards. Whether or not that's actually the case, we'll see. They do have this nice kind of Explorer benchmark that shows the latest blocks, but there's not a lot of usage right now. And that's kind of a red flag as well. Like, will this actually scale? To their benefit, though, they have shipped. I did try out their Splendor AI, which is their sort of AI native search. And then you have the sort of AI search here, but this one is kind of like ChatGPT. So I asked it, will Bitcoin outperform gold in the next 12 months, given that the ratio BTC gold seems to have flipped bullish? It gave me a pretty decent answer here with sources and links to stuff. So, and it was fast. So this thing works, and you can ask it questions. The X402 micropayments that are baked into the protocol with dev examples that show literally one line of code, which you can see here. This will allow people to start charging for API calls at literally a fraction of a cent. It's really cool.
Yeah, boy.
Now, the reality check for this is that we're taking their numbers from their own docs and from listings. We do not yet have sort of a neutral validation of this 2.35 million TPS on a consumer GPU running in some sort of decentralized environment with an actual independent validator. It could be revolutionary. It could be lab theater. We just don't know yet. What I do know is that they have shipped 2 products, which is the Splendor Search and the Search API. Splendor Search does work. It does give me pretty good answers. I've tried this with some other stuff. I mean, it even shows you charts here. None of these are actually related to Bitcoin Gold, but it gave me a decent answer. It's better than some of the other AI coin search things that I've tried. If even half of it is real, every other AI blockchain is in deep shit. So for tech and execution, I gave it a 12 out of 20, and we can move on to market structure and liquidity, which is basically going to answer, can you even trade this thing without sort of crying to sleep at night? Well, not really. They're only on LBank right now, so that's the only market you can actually get this from. LBank lists itself or brands itself as a 100x gems exchange, which is code for like you're early and you're also completely on your own. I've never actually used it, but you can go on here and sort of trade the pair. They really need to expand to other markets in order to get some velocity behind this thing. Again, my main concern is really around the float, which is microscopic in terms of the circulating supply versus the fully diluted value. I mean, these numbers are just insane and don't make sense to me at all. This is micro cap country. Yes, you can get in. Yes, you can get out, assuming you're not swinging huge size, but the order book is not deep enough for this thing, especially if it rugs 70% in an afternoon. Again, this token's not on Coinbase. It's not on Binance or Bybit or KuCoin. It's just a single offshore-ish listing plus whatever DEX off-market action pops up for this. The pros here are that, you're early. This is pre-major listing early. The cons are the same. You're early, as in you're a test subject. Congratulations. This is kind of like buying backstage passes to a band that technically hasn't formed yet. And is there alpha in that? Sort of, but it's not something I would touch anyway. So for market structure liquidity, I banged them on this score, 5 out of 20. Let's talk about exit risk and VC stakes for this. And there's no clean public, here's our investors and here's the vesting schedule breakdown in the material that I pulled. There's no, X firm took Y% locked 2-year style disclosure. It's just the silver lining of supply, right? 130 million SPLD is planned for public offerings gradually, and the other 25.8 billion tokens are earmarked for ecosystem partnerships, integrations, liquidity. That's basically insiders. When you combine that microscopic flow problem, the massive narrative, and trust us, future unlocks will be responsible, that's textbook exit risk. You don't need a VC wallet dumping on you if literally everyone else with tokens is a pseudo VC in practice. So while there's no obvious big fund already unloading on you on day one headline, the structure screams future unlock moments will be, basically emotional damage. You're betting that they don't speed run this token into a waterfall onto retail once the hype spikes. For exit risk and VC stakes, again, I gave them a 3 out of 20 just from the lack of any kind of clarity around it. At least on CoinMarketCap, they usually have something for this, some section that shows the unlocks, the vesting, the cliff, all that stuff, whatever. The final score, it's a 40 out of 100. It's too early for me for this. Yes, they have a product that works, but this puts it in clear exit liquidity candidate range. It looks fun until you're just, down 70% and kind of checking unlock dates, which we don't even have yet. I'll revert it with this. I did like their pitch. It's one of the cleanest I've seen in AI crypto, right? The instant micropayments for AI, the ad-free monetization, 2 million TPS chain, quantum resistance, stablecoin backed by compute, everything. It all sounds really nice. If this works, this is a real narrative. This could become the chain AI agents use to pay each other. That's huge. Problem is, could be, not is. The token structure is a huge red flag. Less than 1% circulating, 9 billion implied valuation, and basically one exchange listing. That's a no for me, dog. So this is definitely not a safe token. If you touch this, size it like you expect to lose it all. Could it 10, 20, 50, 100x? Of course, but it's just not something that I would actually get involved with, especially with all the unknowns around it. So regardless, if you did enjoy this breakdown, first of all, thank you for sticking it out with me till the end. I really appreciate it. If you did like the video, you know what to do. As always, not going to ask you for it. And I'll see you next time for the next video. Have a great day out there. Cheers.